Let's fire 'em up.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Triggered Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Haskell. As you guys would already know, if you have been following along with these podcasts I've done so far. So today's just going to be a quick one. It's going to be about pricing, and it doesn't matter if it's landscaping, it doesn't matter if it's snow plowing, it doesn't matter if it is spring and fall cleanups. Fall cleanups are what brought this about today, and I'm going to give you an example. I'll tell you a little story here, but everybody starting off is always so nervous about giving prices or worried about charging too much. It's because when you start off, you don't know your worth, so to speak. You don't know what your services are valued at. You don't really know your numbers. You haven't really gotten into purchasing, high-end expensive equipment where you have to figure it in and know your numbers because of that kind of stuff. You just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So let me reiterate what a lot of people have already gone over in certain videos, podcasts, things like that, and it's about sticking to your numbers, sticking to your guns, because people will take advantage of you. They will nickel and dime you. They will drive you down on that price, thinking, that they got you where they want you. As Keith Kalfas says, they got you over the barrel, and they're just gonna get everything they could possibly get out of you without barely giving you anything in return. So I used to be the same way. Everybody was starting off, and some people just have never gotten away from it. So you got to know what you're worth, and you got to know your numbers to know what you need to charge on a property. When I go in and somebody calls me about doing an estimate for lawn care, regular weekly lawn service, I go in, I look at the property, my price is more determined on the amount of string trimming and edging I have to do versus mowing. My mowers are fast, and I know what they can do. I know how quick they are. I know what kind of turf they can handle, wet grass, so on and so forth. And because of that, most of my price is based off the amount of string trimming I have to do in the edging. And let's face it, most people just don't like to string trim. When you do, it tires your shoulders out, tires your legs out, a lot of walking, this and that. So that's where a lot of my price comes in versus just a regular mowing. But the point is, I go to a property, I look at it, and I know how long it's going to take me to do, whether I'm doing it by myself or I know Billy is going to be with me. This year I got lucky because of COVID. He was with me from the beginning of the season all the way to the end, except for leaf cleanups now. He's only with me on Thursday and Friday, and on the weekends if I need him, if we're working on the weekends like last weekend because we got behind. But other than that, it's normally me from the beginning of the season, about April till about mid to end of June. Then he comes down with me when he gets out of school, and then he goes back to school the second week of September. And so from there on until Thanksgiving or sometimes a little bit later, it's just me again. Even though I do my cleanups with Ryan for a good portion of it. But anyway, the point is, I know how long a property takes me. So I give a price. I don't care if it's less or more than what they were paying the previous guy. I know my numbers and I know what I need to make. Now, I've gone to a lot of properties where I give a price and they're like, oh my goodness, let's just say it's $40 a week to mow that property. Like, oh, the last guy did it for 25 or did it for 30. I used to be like, okay, well, maybe I can come down to 35, take $5 off or something like that. I don't do that shit anymore. And my price is what it is. If you want the service, if you want the quality that I bring to your property, you're going to pay for it. And it's very apparent when you look at my properties compared to some others. There's a lot of guys in my area that do phenomenal work, and they deserve those higher prices, but there's a lot of shitbags in my area, just like anywhere else. They're just looking to mow, blow, and go and get that money, get the hell out of there. They don't care what the properties look like. Those are the kind of guys that take on a lot of the one-time cuts or the bi-weekly or the once every 15 days or something. And I used to do those, and I go into a property and they'd say, I just want it knocked down. Just this is all I need. I don't care about the trimming, the blowing off, the edging, anything like that. I just need it knocked down, once every 2 weeks. And I would take them out when I started off because I needed the work, as everybody does starting off. So I would take those properties on. Well, the problem is my name is all over the side of my truck, my trailer, things like that. And when I pull away and that property looks like hammered shit, the neighbors don't know that that's the deal I had with that customer. They just think that's the type of work I do. So, especially being in a small town like the one I'm in, that'll put you out of business quick, or maybe not out of business, but you're not going to get a lot of business. So, word of mouth is a huge thing in any market, I believe, whether you're in a small town or not. I just think it's more prevalent in a small town. But so I don't do that kind of work anymore. And the point is, I don't care what other people charge. I charge what I charge because I know my numbers and I know where I need to be profitable on that property. So that's what I do. Now, there's going to be people that are going to nickel and dime you. And in my experience, it's more often than not, it's the little old ladies. A million times I've had them come to me, and I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos on Countryside Vlogs on YouTube. For those of you that don't know me, that's where you can find me. But I've mentioned a lot of times in my videos that there is been so many times where these little old ladies would tell me, I really can't afford it. I'm on a fixed income, tight budget, this or that. And then I see them get their driveway repaved that year. Or I see these construction companies that are remodeling this part of their house or that part, or they're getting a new deck put on. But they couldn't afford a $5 a week raise, $20 a month to pay me a little more for the service I'm doing on their entire property. But you'll look at them and you'll think, for me anyway, I'd look at them and picture my grandmother, and I'd think, well, I hope somebody's taking care of my grandmother, like construction work or whatever, that she would hire. I hope they'd be nice to her. So that's what I would see to make me feel bad. And I just got taken advantage of a lot, as a bunch of us do. But you need to stick to your prices. Here's my story. And the reason that I decided to do a podcast on this today is because I was doing a property today that I've been doing for years. I mow it, I do the spring and fall cleanup there, and I do their snow plowing. Now, the system I have for their fall cleanup is what I mentioned, one of the ways I mentioned in my podcast number 2, Making Money with Leaves, is I go there weekly and I stay up on them every single week, and I bag them every single week. Now, they live down along a big river, and there's an embankment, and they own the property that's on. There's their house, there's their house, and then there's the main road, and then there's a patch of grass on the other side, which drops down a cliff to the river. So they own, their house and their property, obviously, and then on the other side of the road where the river is, they own that piece of property too. So the town that they live in happens to be one of the towns that I service, the only town that I service that the township does not pick up leaves. There's woods behind their house. It's privately owned by somebody else. You're not allowed to dump anything there. So in the summer when I bag their lawn, I only bag their lawn in the spring. When I bag it, I dump it at the edge of the cliff that goes down to that river. And there's woods that go all the way down this cliff. So it's not like I'm dumping it over and it's going down into the river. There's like woods, and a cliff that goes down. There's a landing, and it's all wooded area, and then out maybe 15 feet, and then there's the water. So I dump on the edge of the cliff there, and then I take the backpack blower and I blow it off into the wooded area that's there before the river. So I've been doing it that way for years. Well, the neighbor comes out that lives to the left of this customer, and he has a huge property. It's pretty big, and he has a lot of trees and a lot of leaves. So he comes out today and he asks me, how much to do my leaves? And I said, I really don't have the time today. I could squeeze you in on Friday. I said, what I would do is come through and do it in 2 waves. I'd come in probably this coming Friday, bag everything up, and then when the rest of them come down, because a good majority of them are down already, when the rest of them come down, I will come in and do a second wave. On that wave, I will blow out around your house, your flower beds, which he barely has any flower beds. I'll blow that out and blow your driveway off and bag that up as well, and then you'll be done. Billy and I together, me on the Walker MT, him on the Skag V-Ride with the bagging system, we'd probably be in now there in an hour each time. So it's a big property, but it really wouldn't take that long. And I do the same thing, drive across the street from his house and dump them over the embankment that's in front of his house. So I told the guy $400, and I told him, that'll cover both waves I come through. It's technically like $200 a shot. And I said, that'll be the deal. And he said, all right, great, because we don't have time to do it, my wife and I. We just don't have the time to do it, and I really need to get it done. I tried to do it last year and it was just a nightmare for me to do. So I said, okay, no problem. And he said, all right, great. I'm going to text you right now so you have my number and my name and all my information. I said, perfect. I'll just email you an invoice, after the second one. You can pay online, mail me a check, whatever you want to do. He said, all right, perfect. So I finished doing my customer's property. When I get done, after I dumped the baggers on the Skag V ride like 4 times on the edge of this cliff, I get done, put the mowers away, go over the edge of the cliff that's right next to where my trailer is parked, and I start blowing all these leaves over. Get everything blown over, can't even see it. If you look down the cliff, you can't even see it. It blends right in with the woods. It's like it's not even there, right? So this guy, I look to my right, and this guy comes walking over, this new guy. And so I shut the backpack off, and he goes, so you don't haul them away? And I said, no. I said, in this township, the town doesn't pick them up. I said, so, I just dump them over the edge here, blow them over, they're gone, you can't see them, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. He goes, yeah, I get that. He goes, man, I really wanted you to haul them away. I said, well, I can, that's always an option. I said, but you're looking at more like double the price I originally gave you if you want me to haul these away. I said, you got a lot of leaves, I'll be hauling a lot of material out of here, so, you're looking at like double. And he goes, no. He goes, man, I really thought you hauled them away. He goes, I didn't know you were dumping them over the edge here. And he goes, you know what? He goes double. He goes, man, that's a lot of money. He goes, I thought the 400 in the first place was a lot of money. And I started to laugh. I tried not to. I know it's very unprofessional. I tried not to, but I started to chuckle a little bit. And he looks at me. He's like, you know what? My wife and I just do it ourselves. And I said, no problem, sir. You have a great day. And he just turned around and walked away. Didn't say anything after that. But, it would have been just as easy for me to say, and probably back years ago, I probably would have said, you know what, all right, fine, no, I'll just haul them away and done it all for the same price, even though it's a lot more work. It fills up my truck. I probably couldn't, each time I probably could have got them in the bed of my truck each time. But that's twice I'd have had to fill up my truck. Then I have to go because I don't have my dump truck. It's been down all season, for those of you that don't know. So I would have to haul them away and then get to where I have to dump at and then blow them all out of the back of my truck with the backpack, and I'd have to do that twice. So that's double the work, double the time, and years ago I would have just done it for the same money. There's no way in hell I'm doing that shit now. It's just not happening. So I think this guy thought that he was going to kind of sit there and talk me a little bit and get me to just do it for the same price and say, agree to it and say, okay, I'll haul them away. When there's a perfectly accessible site right there to dump at, you never see it. You don't even know it's there. And after winter and the snow comes and goes, those leaves will be broken down and it'll be like they weren't even there in the first place. So I don't understand. He has a stairwell that goes down to a river with a dock down there and a deck they built and some lawn chairs and stuff on it, but it's nowhere near where I would have been dumping these leaves. So nothing would have got on any of his stuff. I don't understand, what his big issue was with dumping them over, but he had a problem with it, and, I think he really just wanted to get me to haul them away and do that much more work, all for the same amount of money, and it just wasn't happening. And I know this property, by the way, because years ago there was an old man that lived there, and he was homebound, couldn't get outside, and I used to take care of the property then for a couple years, and then he got put into a home and they ended up selling the house to this new guy that's living in there now. So I know the property, and I know everywhere I can get my mower, which there's no gates or nothing like that. It's not a big deal, but I just wasn't doing it. I wasn't taking on the extra property, especially one that big, and doing it for peanuts when I know that, I had my price based off of dumping it right there on site. Now, maybe it was my fault for not telling him right off the bat, okay, I'll bag them up, I'll be dumping them over there, this is the price, and then he could have said right off the bat, oh no, never mind, I wanted you to haul them away, and could have gone a little different. But the point is, that's neither here or there. The point is you have to stick to your prices no matter what, because people will keep talking you down. Now, had I agreed to what he wanted right then and there and said, okay, yeah, I'll do the extra work, I'll haul them all away each time, and still the same price, in his mind, he's instantly going to think, what else can I get out of them? And that's how people work. That's the thing that a lot of companies fail to realize. You may think you're being nice. You may think you're doing the right thing. There are customers that I have that I do little things for, and I don't charge them for. Like I have this one lady that every week I just happen to be there to mow on the day that her garbage goes out. So when I get there in the afternoon, the garbage men have already come. I haul her garbage cans back up to her house for her, and so she doesn't have to go out and get them. I have another guy that I mow his lawn, and he walks with a walker, doesn't do too good. He has a pretty decent sized driveway, so every week when I go there, I grab his newspaper and I take it up and set it on his doorstep for him. Little shit like that. And I don't charge people for that kind of stuff, obviously, but little things like that I don't mind doing, but I'm not going to do all kinds of extra stuff. I have one customer ask me, he tries it every year. He used to own a pizzeria in my area, one of the biggest ones. And every single year he asks me, he has these 4 shrubs in front. And every year he says, can you just trim them up for me for free? And or the one year he asked me, he goes, can you just trim them up for me, tighten them up, make them look good? And they're so overgrown, they hadn't been done in a while. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I said, I'll text you a price on it later. I said, it's not going to be that much. Or I said, I'll just put it on your bill. And he goes, no. I meant for free. He goes, you can't just trim them up real quick while you're here? And I said, no, I can't trim them up real quick for you while I'm here. And I said, I can do them, but there's a fee for that. You got to pay for that. It's my time. I got to trim them and then blow out your flower bed, rake it up, or else bag it up with the mower. That's my time that I could be on another property. I got to charge you for it. I said, you give me mowing every single year, year after year, so I'll cut you a break. I'll give you a deal on it. I said, but there is a fee for that. Oh, no, man, I just thought you'd do it for free real quick since you were here. It wouldn't take that long. Everybody always says it won't take that long. Just real quick, just zip, 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 zip. Well, yeah, okay, zip, 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 zip. It does take time, and it takes fuel, and it takes my equipment to be able to do it. So, I told this guy, I said, hey, when you own the pizzeria and somebody came in, they bought a slice, and they said, hey, can I have a slice of that chicken finger pizza too for free? Just throw that one in. Did you give it to him? And he just kind of looked at me and said, exactly. So, I can't do this stuff for you for free all the time. There's a price, and like I told you, I'll cut you a deal, but there's a price. So, people will try to push, and they will do that like crazy if you don't stick to your prices, if you don't stick to your guns, no matter what you're doing, no matter what the service is. Stick to your guns, and whatever you do for your customers, charge them for it. Your time is worth money. You are worth money. Charge them for it. Even if you're not charging them a lot, or you're not even charging your regular rate because you're already there, and it's just something extra stupid and little, charge them something, so that they know that you're not giving it up for free. They know that you are a person that's going to stick to your guns. You're giving them the impression that you are not somebody that can be taken advantage of, and they won't try to do that to you. Some people will still try, and stop them in their tracks. And if you can't stop them in their tracks, then maybe you need to get rid of that customer. But you need to stick to your guns, and you need to make sure that you're letting these customers know that I'm a professional company. I'm not little Billy mowing lawns after school. That's kind of funny how I threw that in there, isn't it? But you're not little Billy mowing lawns after school every day. This is how you pay your mortgage. This is how you pay your bills. Your time is worth money. Your equipment's worth money. And this is your career. This is what you do for a living. This is what you need to put money away for your retirement. You need to be thinking of all these things. So you keep giving all the stuff away for free. Maybe it's 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Say you have 10 customers a day, and 5 of them you're giving them 10 minutes of your time. That's an hour. That's just about an hour. And say you do that every day, 5 days. That's 5 hours. How many lawns can you cut in 5 hours? Okay. So depending on your lawn size and where you're at, how many lawns can you cut in 5 hours? If you had that extra 5 hours during the week. You see how that time adds up and the amount of money you could make in that 5 hours when you add it all up, but you just gave all that time away for free. Don't do it. Don't give your time away for free. Know your worth. Make sure that you are getting what you're worth, and you are charging these customers for every single thing you do. Trying to be the nice guy will never help you. Ever. You do nice things for them every once in a while, like I do with the garbage cans, with the newspaper. There's nothing wrong with that. But the second you interfere your feelings with your business, you will lose every time. You have to take it. You have to take feelings out of business. It's like the old saying, you don't mix business with pleasure. There's nothing personal about it. There's a guy in my area I've been friends with for years, and when I first got into business, I took like 7 lawns from him that first year. And I didn't know most of them were his. One of them I knew for sure was his. I'd seen him cut it before. And when the lady called me and asked me for an estimate, I said, man, I'm thinking in my head, man, that sounds familiar, that address. So I go there. As soon as I pulled up, I knew right away. And I'm like, shit. So I walk up and I look at it, and she just wasn't happy with her current service. She said, I'm done with them. I'm not using them anymore. So I called a couple companies. You're the first one to call me back. So I knew right away that if I didn't take it, somebody else was taking it. My buddy just wasn't having this lawn anymore. It just wasn't going to be one of his accounts. So I gave her a price, and she jumped on it right away, and I took it. So I called him up on the way home. I didn't even make it home. I was feeling guilty about it, and I called him and said, hey, man, listen. I said, I just went and put a bid on one of your lawns. She said, I was actually going to tell her, no, I'm sorry, I can't bid on this. But she said she said she called a few companies, and I'm the only one that called her back. So if I didn't give her a price, somebody else was gonna. And he goes, stop. Just stop right there. And I'm like, what? He said, it's not personal, man. It's business. It's not personal. Take your feelings out of it and stop worrying about it. It doesn't affect us. He goes, I really appreciate you calling me and telling me it's a cool thing to do, and I appreciate that. So now I'm not, wondering if I'm going to have that customer again next year. But stop worrying about it. It's not personal. It's business. And I said, all right, man, I just really felt bad. He goes, listen. He goes, I send my guys out every day to mow. He goes, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be fucking doing, he said, then I'm going to lose customers. That's not on you. He said, it comes back on me because maybe I'm not checking in on them. He said, but the thing about it is they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. If they're doing the job that I'm telling them they're supposed to do and they're supposed to be doing, then I wouldn't have this problem and my customer wouldn't be looking for somebody else. And I said, all right, I get it. I understand. I just kind of felt bad about it, and I just didn't want to take your customer from you like that. He goes, it's not personal. Stop thinking about it that way. Just let it go. And I said, all right. He goes, and for the record, you took 5 more. I said, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, they already called me. He goes, those other ones that you went and bid on, those were all my lawns too. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And he said, yeah, son of a bitch you, son of a bitch me. He goes, I'm about to bury my foot in my guys' asses when they get back here today. He goes, because now I got a serious problem. He goes, if it was one of my bigger complexes or something, one of my big commercials, he goes, I'd be a little more upset. He goes, just residentials, I'm not that mad about it. He said, but I'm definitely going to be having some words with these boys when they get back. So the point is, guys, let it go. Don't mix business with personal. Don't mix business with your feelings. Don't worry about, feeling bad. Don't worry about, don't worry about offending somebody or offending somebody with your price, or don't worry that you're not going to get it. I mean, don't be going in there and trying to rape customers. And like I said, knowing your numbers is huge. It's just you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know what your numbers are so that you know what to charge, because at the end of the day, the only one that's going to lose money or make money is you. So when you go onto these properties, this is one thing that drives me crazy. Now, we have some areas in my neighborhood that are very well off neighborhoods, high end, 350, 500, some of these, $100,000. Some of these houses are over $1 million. And there's guys in my area that they will charge one price for a house, say in my neighborhood. There are some poor people. I'm the poor people. No, I'm just kidding. But there are some guys in my area that'll charge a price for a lawn in my neighborhood, and we'll just say it's $30, right? They will go to this other neighborhood with these very expensive houses and charge $60 for the same lawn, for the same exact lawn. That drives me crazy. I know a lot of people do it, but that drives me crazy. I know my numbers, so I know I don't give a shit where the lawn is located. I know the size of the lawn. I know what I need to charge. That's what I charge. So I've never had a problem picking up lawns, and I've had guys tell me, man, I can't get any lawns up in that neighborhood. I don't know why this and that. Well, it's because you're trying to charge $60 for a lawn you charge $30 for in this other neighborhood. It's the same freaking lawn. It'll take you the same exact time to do it. So that's why these people aren't getting these lawns in these neighborhoods. But knowing your numbers will allow you to charge a set price and to know what that price is. And again, once you give that price, don't back out on it. You're going to run into cheap people in every neighborhood, no matter if it's a very well-off neighborhood or a median-level neighborhood. You're going to get people all over that are going to try to talk you down, to try to bring your prices down, to try to drop everything down. And you can't, okay? You can't take your prices down because these people are trying to just drive you down and to get everything they can out of you for nothing. Once you do that, you're in that same boat that I just told you about with giving it for free. You might as well have given that service away for free. Because once you tell them, well, it's $40 a week, it's going to cover mowing, weed whacking, edging, and blowing off. And it's going to be a regular weekly service. This is the price. And they're like, oh, I really was hoping for around 30, and I think I would do it if you were around $30. I just 40 is just too much for me. Meanwhile, they have a Mercedes and a BMW, maybe an Acura, sitting in the driveway. And you're thinking $40. You spend more than that probably every other day at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. You shitting me? So, obviously you don't say that to them, but you tell them, I understand, but, this is my price. We take a lot of pride in our service. We make sure, we're very adamant about making sure there's no grass left on your property. We either double cut it or we bag it. We make sure everything is edged, nice, crisp, clean lines. We edge your flower beds, we edge any hard surfaces, and make sure the trimming looks good. There's no tall stuff sticking up anywhere. And when we leave your property, it actually looks like you pay for a service. Versus another lawn company is just going to come in, do it for a lower price, and when they leave, it just looks like you had some kid down the road do it real quick to make a couple bucks. When you're paying for a service, it should look like you're paying for a service, and that's what you'll get with us. And we're very prompt. We have the same schedule every week. We are here on the same day every single week. Unless it rains, then we guarantee to service your property within 48 hours after the rain stopping. See what I did there? That's what I tell my customers. That's what I tell all new potential customers. That's the line that I give them, and I don't mean it like it's a line of bullshit, because it's the truth. It's exactly what I do. It's exactly the service I offer, and that's what I tell them customers. And I'll tell you what, the one thing that usually gets them is when I tell them it'll be the same day every week, or I guarantee to be there within 48 hours after the rain passes if it rains on their day. Because I do not mow in the rain, which a lot of companies, again, will do. And they tear up lawns, and a lot of people hate that. And that in itself has allowed me to pick up numerous properties from certain companies in my area. But that's neither here or there. So I tell them exactly what they're going to get. I tell them why I'm worth the money that I'm asking for. And I assure them that they are going to be happy with the service, and they are going to be happy with what they get from me, and that there will be no issues. And more times than not, I give them, say, you know what? Okay, let's just do it. I'm going to go with you. Let's do it. Let's try it out and see what happens. And usually don't have a problem after that down the road, because I do what I say I'm going to do. And it's not only about sticking to your prices. It's about giving that price and then maintaining that customer. How long? What's the lifespan of that customer? How long can you keep that customer? That, when you asked for that higher price, you better deliver. Okay? Don't tell them that you will never leave grass laying on their lawn. You'll never leave clumped up grass laying on their lawn. You'll weed whack every week. You'll edge every week. And then go there certain weeks and just mow real quick, and then don't do the weed whacking or don't do the edging. You'll get weeks during the summer, especially up in my area. And I imagine every area where you're going to get droughts, things like that, and it's just really not growing that much. And I go in and I maintain lawns, and there's really no weed whacking to be done. I might have to touch up a little part here or there, and that's it. There's just nothing to be done as far as weed whacking, because it's just not growing, okay, along the edges of the flower beds, stuff like that. And it's not growing along the driveway, the sidewalks, the grass growing over the edges to where it needs to be edged, things like that. So you'll have that, and that's not a big deal. But during spring, when it's growing like crazy, during fall, when it's growing like crazy, or even in the summer, if you're getting a lot of rain, it's growing like crazy, you better deliver. You asked for that price. You have now developed that mindset where you're sticking to that price. You're not backing down. You're not allowing people to nickel dime you and push you over the barrel. And you got that price, and you got them to agree to it. Now you better deliver. You better give them exactly what you say you're going to give them. You better follow through, and that is going to increase the longevity of that customer. That is going to keep them never seeking out somebody else. Like, my buddy's customers who were calling and looking for somebody else, it's because he had given them a price when he signed them on as a customer, and they agreed to his price and agreed to what he told them they were getting for that price, and then his guys were failing to deliver on that. So it's not only about putting that price out there and sticking to that price, but it's delivering on that concept of you're setting their mind at ease. You're giving them their weekends back. You're giving them their nights, their evenings back, their afternoons, so that they can spend time with their family. And when it comes down to it, you're only ever going to pick up customers for one of two ways. Either it's out of necessity, they literally do not have the time to do it, or it's a luxury and they don't want to do it. So the biggest thing is they have a need for you for whatever reason that is. Give them their time back and ensure them. Tell them when you're giving them a bid, listen, it's not about how I can do this, how fast I can do this, or what my price is. It's how long would it take them to do it. Okay, so what you can go in and get in now there in 20 minutes, a half hour servicing their lawn, it might take them all day on a Saturday when they could be spending time with their families. So put that price out there, stick to your price, don't back down, and just know that you are worth it. Have that self-worth. Don't go in there with your tail between your legs, your head down, feeling all nervous, shaky. People will pick up on that and they will play that against you every day, all day. Till the next one, guys, this is just a short one, 30 minutes. I needed to cover this. A lot of people need to hear this, and a lot of people have asked me questions about pricing and don't know how to price or what to price. I really can't teach you that. It comes with experience, but when you figure that out, when you get to it, know your worth, deliver that price, and stick to it. Don't be afraid to walk away. If you need to walk away, walk.